What if I told you that some of the most meaningful work that you'll ever do as a teacher begins with very small actions on your part? In this video, I want to show you how one 30-second video, one that barely reached 100 people, became the starting point for the work that over a course of a year has reached nearly 500,000 teachers around the world. And if you hang out to the end, I want to share with you a principle that changes everything. So most teachers I know, they don't struggle because they're lazy or because they're unmotivated. They struggle because they keep doing small things that seemingly go unnoticed and that nobody cares about. For instance, you show up when you don't feel like it, or you make a great plan, but nobody seems to care about it, or you care about students and you care about what's going on at your school, but it doesn't seem to be reciprocated. It doesn't seem like anybody cares about you. And at the end of the day, it can feel like that everything that you've done, no matter how hard you've worked, that it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. And when effort does not lead to visible results, because that's what we're used to, what we really want is we want to see immediate visible results from our work. And when that doesn't happen, it's only natural to start wondering, does this even actually matter? Does what I do as a teacher, does it even make a difference? And you might even begin to ask yourself, does being faithful as a teacher, does that even matter? And I want you to know that that's a dangerous question, because once we start to believe that small things and small faithful actions don't matter, before long, we'll stop doing them. And that's very difficult as a teacher, because most of what we do, you can't see it. It can't be measured. And I know that they try to measure everything we do with all kinds of different data sets, but that's exactly another point, is that the work that we do as teachers, it can't be placed on a data sheet. You can take test scores and things like that, and you can put them on a data sheet, but what you can't do is you can't take the impact that an individual makes and put that on a data sheet. More often, the things that we do, they go completely unacknowledged. Nobody even says thank you, or, hey, you know what, you did a really good job today and I appreciate you doing that. So a year ago, I made a 30-second video, and it took me nearly an hour to create the video. And I got to tell you, I made this video and I 100% looked like a hostage reading his captor's message. And I looked like an idiot. But I created it, I put it out there, and it got about 100 views. And I felt like an even bigger idiot. I felt like an idiot whenever I was making it. But once I put it out there and nobody liked it, nobody had anything to say about it, I completely felt like an idiot. And I began to wonder myself, does anybody even care about the message of that video? Does anybody even care about the problem of teacher burnout in America and the fact that teachers are under attack, and that every which way we turn, it seems like we're the problem, and that teachers are leaving the profession at a rate that's higher than any other profession in America? Does anybody even care about that? And the truth of the matter is I was completely devastated. But what I didn't understand then is what I want you to understand now. Small beginnings are not a sign of something that does not matter. They're often the very place where meaningful work begins. And my attitude right there reminds me of something that the scripture warns us about. It says, despise not small beginnings. And the reason why is because when we misunderstand how impact actually takes place, we stop believing that small things actually matter. Jesus one time told a story about how faith as small as a mustard seed could move a mountain. And I can only imagine the shock on everybody's face whenever they heard that. Maybe it's kind of the shock. Maybe you're hearing it for the first time and you're thinking, well, there's no way that a seed can move a mountain. And I can understand that 100%. But you got to think about it. Some of these seeds, like a lettuce seed, is really small. It's just barely bigger than a gnat. And if you take something like that and you bury it under a ½ inch of dirt, that is like a mountain to that seed. But what happens? Some water gets to that seed, the seed germinates, it takes root, and then it begins to work its way up through the dirt, and before long, it's become a beautiful plant. And that's what he's talking about. Small, faithful actions on the part of that seed germinated. It moved a little bit. It moved a little bit. It did a little bit more over here. And before long, it's up above the ground and it's a beautiful plant. And here's the thing. It did all of that, not because it was powerful, not because it was able to fix everything, but because small, faithful actions often set things in motion that you and I could never even imagine. I mean, think about the old metaphor of throwing a pebble in a pond and the ripple effect. I mean, you throw a pebble in a pond, the pebble sinks completely to the bottom, which is the activator of the ripple, but the ripple goes on to affect many things that the stone could never affect all by itself. And your work and your actions are exactly the same way. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's a kind word to a student or to a colleague, or maybe it's a decision to show up on a day that you didn't really feel like it. Whatever it is, whatever those small things are, they're having an effect, and they ripple out and they touch other people, oftentimes without us even knowing about it. So a really good resource right here that'll help you out with this concept is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've read the book. It's a pretty good book, and so I recommend it to you. But if we were to paraphrase his work, it would sound something like this: small habits compound over time, just like interest. And that's what we're aiming at, is that these small things that we do day in and day out that seemingly make no difference whatsoever is kind of like putting money in the bank and it growing and growing and growing. That resource is linked for you down in the description box. So go down there and grab it. It's over on Amazon. I don't know how much it is, a couple bucks, whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe it's James Clear. Maybe it's $15, but whatever it is, go get it. Take some time and read it. Now, the reason why I believe this so deeply is, like I said, a year ago, I made a 30-second video, and I'm being very honest, I looked like an idiot. I felt like an idiot. And it barely got 100 views. But from that 30-second video has come the organization called Teacher Talk. It's actually Teacher Talk with John, and I only had to put the John on it because Teacher Talk was already taken by somebody else. I had no idea a year ago that a 30-second video would lead to us being on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. I had no idea that Teacher Talk would be a thing, and I sure didn't think that in the span of a year that 500,000 teachers worldwide would tune in to Teacher Talk and listen to our videos, comment on our videos, watch us on TV. Thousands of people watch us on TV. I have no idea, because in my estimation, I still look like an idiot. I still sound like an idiot. I still sound like a hostage that's reading in the message of its captor. And yet that's exactly what happened. As imperfect as my work is and what I've done, is God has been able to take it, he's been able to use it, and he's been able to affect the lives of nearly 500,000 people. And I want you to know, it's not because I'm great. It's not because I'm a brilliant strategist. It's not because I sit down with this long-range plan and put it into action. It's none of those things. It all happened because of one insignificant act that led to another, and then another, and then another. And here we are today. So I want you to think about the people that have had the most influence and the most impact in your life. And I want you to think, were they Hollywood elites? Were they the professional athletes that we see on TV? Was it Oprah Winfrey? I don't know what to say about that. Was it Dr. Phil? I mean, who are the people that have had the most influence in your life? Was it these people? Or was it some regular dude or some regular lady? Maybe it was your neighbor. Maybe it was your pastor. Or maybe it was a teacher. When I think about regular people just having a profound impact in people's life, I think about a guy by the name of Mordecai Ham. Now, I bet nobody out there knows who Mordecai Ham is, and he's okay with that because he didn't want him to be known. But Mordecai Ham is the person that spoke into the life of Billy Graham. And as we all know, Billy Graham went on to touch the lives of millions and millions of people. He spoke to every president that was in office during his lifetime. He's been all over the world and spoken to kings and emperors. He's been able to speak to just regular people, just like me and just like you. All because Mordecai Ham was a pebble that was thrown into a pond, and it created a ripple effect far beyond what he ever imagined. He had no idea that that was going to happen. And that is exactly what happens every single day. You and I step into a classroom. Every encounter that we I can't get it out. Every encounter that we have with students has the potential to have that same effect. That's why what you do matters, and that the fact that you matter. Now, I know I made a promise that I was going to share with you a principle that changes everything. And I want to deliver on that promise right now, because the principle that changes everything is this: faithfulness often looks like foolishness before it is fruitful. Faithfulness often looks like foolishness before it's fruitful. Eugene Peterson once described faithfulness as a long obedience in one direction. That resource is linked for you right down in the description box. Go grab that right off of Amazon, get that, and it'll help you understand this concept just a little bit better. But understand this: when you're faithful, you do a lot of work and you do a lot of things without any feedback whatsoever. You show up without affirmation, without confirmation. You just believe that what you're doing is having an impact. You invest your efforts without guarantees, which is very hard to do. I admit that we really want to have immediate feedback, immediate gratification, to see immediate results. And when we don't see those, it's so hard to keep going. And that's why it's called faithfulness. And from the outside, it can look extraordinarily foolish. It looks foolish to keep caring when nobody else cares or nobody else notices. It's foolish to keep showing up when the outcomes are completely out of your control, when you don't have the ability to affect them in the way that you would want to. It looks foolishness to keep doing small things when the system only rewards big results. It does look foolishness, but fruitfulness never announces itself early. I mean, I want you to think about it. If you plant an apple tree today, you're probably not going to get apples tomorrow. It takes time. If you plant corn today, it takes 120 days to get corn. But if you faithfully water it, and if you faithfully tend to it, over time, you'll get the fruit. Fruit takes time. Fruit grows quietly, often underground, long before it's visible above the surface. And that's why faithfulness is so easily misunderstood, because it's not measured by outcomes. It's measured by obedience. You matter. Your work matters. Don't give up. Stay strong and keep teaching.